It is Thursday, May 28th, 2026. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by T-Mobile. That is not my dude, Trevor Plouffe. That is my guy, Jimmy Norp. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. This could be a little dangerous for me, putting the two Woogas guys together on the same show, Jimmy.
It's Rose, first of all, it's great to be back. Always good to talk some ball with you. But yeah, a lot of championship DNA on this one with me and my good buddy Dan Rourke, BB7 champs.
Yeah, that's why I'm here to kind of balance that out. I bring the loser mentality to the show.
Right.
You bring the winner mentality.
I'd like to think that as well, but I wouldn't consider yourself a loser by any means. A lot of winners on this show today, Rose. A lot of winners.
Read my comments. You might change that. By the way, did you get your hair cut?
It's gone, dude. It's all chopped. Everything's gone. Funny enough, Rose, I cut my hair because when I was at my barber, we started talking about the Tigers, and they're like, maybe the Tigers need a change. And so I just chopped it all off, but actually it's gotten worse since then. So that didn't seem to work, but it's fine.
Don't worry. We'll get a little mention of your Motor City Kitties coming up in just a bit. I couldn't have you here and not talk about what's going on in the American League Central, but we'll save that for the end of the show. We're going to start it, though, with our usual tip of the cap, and that to one of the best in-game reporters we've got, Cincinnati Reds sideline star Jim Day, and he's up at Citi Field as the Reds are taking on the Mets, and he gets somewhat courageous out there, and he tries a delicacy that they've got on hand. Apparently they do this when a road team is in, they try and take something famous from, let's say, Cincinnati. So they took their Skyline chili recipe and they put it inside of an egg roll. And here is Jim Day's experience.
I'm going to give it one more try because I kind of got the edge of it. So we'll get deep into it.
You're eating it like pizza all the way up to the crust of the one side.
This is the lowest point in my career. I've had some low ones.
Well, it was a pretty funny 3 minutes if you want to see the whole thing. He didn't exactly give it a ringing endorsement, Jimmy.
No. Yeah, I've done some food reviews in the past and definitely am not one to criticize how another man eats an egg roll because I've had my fair share of comments criticize the way I hold a fork, which is fair. But that was an interesting way to go about it, but definitely one of the best in the game there. It's always fun. I love like baseball broadcast more than any other sport just because I feel like you get more silly stuff like that. You need time to fill kind of those dead spaces and you get great moments like that. So just another like great baseball moment right there.
No question. And I'm going to say something that might end up being controversial. I don't know. You can leave it in the comments. Skyline chili sucks.
Wow.
I lived in Cincinnati for 3 years after I graduated from Miami University. So I had my fair share. I had so many friends from Cincy in college as well because it's less than an hour. Oxford's less than an hour from Cincy. Skyline chili's overrated. It's not good. I don't like it. I think you just cut out the middleman and throw it straight in the toilet. I could be wrong here. Have you ever tried Skyline chili?
No, I've never had the pleasure, but I do have a feeling that some Cincinnati fans will probably be headed your way in this conversation.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be major pushback. It has nothing to do with the city. I loved living there. I still have some good friends that live there. I'm sorry. Skyline chili, I just could never get into it. And as you can tell by my body type, I don't discriminate against food easily. That's one thing I'm not going to put into this temple.
Straight in the toilet. Straight in the toilet.
Let's get to it. Another night, another memorable evening for the face of the game.
Sugano's 1-1. Ohtani, dead center field. Did he get enough? You bet he did. In the air to right. Here comes Cole. 6 no-hit innings for Shohei Ohtani.
But he was done after 6 because he had thrown almost 100 pitches. Will Klein pitched a clean 7th. Tanner Scott, who's been very good this year, came in the 8th. Tyler Freeman lit him up for a knock with 2 down in that inning. So no-hitter, but they did end up getting a sweep. I guess the bigger question here is, because it's Shohei, leadoff homer, 6 no-hit innings, do you just go, it's Shohei, or were you like, oh my God, that's amazing?
I think that's kind of the problem, Rose, because I think I really did go, like that Shohei. And I feel like that shouldn't be the reaction. Like, it's insane. One thing I will say is I saw Shohei pitching last night. I was like, this is a game I'm going to tune into. So that, like, hasn't left. It's still a special feeling watching what he does. But you watch him throw a scoreless top of the first inning and then lead off the game with a homer in the bottom of the first. And it should be like, this should never happen, but it's not. It's almost like you expect it to happen, which is crazy. It just says how talented the guy is. Yeah, he goes 6 not only shutty, but 6 no-hit innings against the Rockies to finish off the sweep. This guy truly is, I say it all the time, he's already, to me, the best player of all time. I don't think anybody comes close to Shohei with what he's able to do. But yeah, it's so special, and I don't want to take for granted what he does because I might never see another player like him in my entire lifetime. So I need to kind of hang on to every single moment of this dude's career.
I will take out the word might. You will never see another player like this. It's just not happening. So it was the second straight game in which he led off while pitching with a home run, which is something I don't think we should just take for granted. Like if you go out and you go watch your local little league or some sort of 10U tournament this weekend, you'll see that. You'll see that occasionally, just not at the highest level of this sport in the world. And I read this morning as I was getting ready for the show, he is the first person in Major League Baseball history to both lead off a game with a homer and throw 6 no-hit innings at any point in their career, let alone in the same evening. So when that happened, I kind of shook myself and said, I should have appreciated it more while I was watching it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And one thing that I think goes unnoticed or underappreciated too is just the preparation that he has to do before a game. Like you think about a starting pitcher, you have to know the scouting report of all 9 guys that you're going to face in the game. And then as a hitter, you're studying the starting pitcher you're going to face and also guys that might come out of the bullpen later on. So he's got to think about how he's going to attack the Rockies lineup while also figuring out how he's going to attack Sagano on the mound for the Colorado Rockies.
Now, I will say this, and that's a really good point, that while I was watching, I thought to myself, man, even though he hasn't given up a hit, and he did give up a run, I have seen him be significantly sharper this year, right? He walked the season high 4 guys. He was all over the place. He even admitted later, he said, I would rather give up hits throughout the game because I felt like I could have given the team more than just 6 innings. It was a real struggle for him, even though he didn't give up a hit the entire evening, to get to 6 full innings. And I think maybe that's what I appreciate about him most is that he never seems satisfied with what he's doing while we're all going, whoa, wow, I can't believe it, all this sort of stuff. He's like, yeah, this is part of who I am. And even on a night where I'm supposed to be celebrating because of what I've accomplished, it's still not good enough.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the great athletes is they're never satisfied with their performance. It's never what did I do good today? It's what can I do better? And Shohei's a prime example of that.
Yeah, a few other things, just numbers-wise for him. So 9 starts. He's only gone fewer than 6 innings one time this year, which is, I think, really solid for a guy who does all of the heavy lifting he does. He's given up more than 1 earned run in only 1 of those 9 starts. That's why his ERA is still under 1 and hasn't broken 1 all year. And then that was his 22nd career leadoff homer as a Dodger. Even though he's not even 2.5 years into his Chavez-Ravine career, that is already 3rd in franchise history. Mookie's number 1 with 32, and this is his 7th season in Dodger blue. Davey Lopes, rest in peace, just passed away, had 28 leadoff homers, and he spent a full decade with the team. So Shohei, hey, dude, by the end of this year, he might tie me. Who knows?
He might.
Who knows? Could happen. Could happen. Let us know what you're thinking. By the way, I do want to make one other point because I know that some Astros fans are going to be upset about this. They're going to say, well, if Tanner Scott had worked the 8th and Blake Trinan had worked the 9th or whomever would have come out in a no-hit situation, you would have made a bigger deal about the combined no-hitter. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have made a bigger deal about the way it would have made me feel because it still would have, like earlier this week when the Astros threw a combined no-hitter, I just said, oh, it's a great accomplishment, but I didn't get any of the feels.
Right.
So it would have been the same exact way with the Dodgers. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I'm being honest. Sorry, I just don't feel great with combined no-hitters, regardless of who starts the game, whether that's Shohei Ohtani or Tatsuya Imai. Doesn't matter to me. Does not matter. Okay? Just want to get that out there, Jimmy.
Agreed. I got the same opinion on combined no-hitters, but that's a story for a different day.
Yes, it is. Today's episode of Baseball Today, it's sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Summer baseball means road trips. Driving out to catch a series in a city maybe you've never been in, flying somewhere just to watch your team play. And when you're making those trips, where you stay can either add to the experience or simply get in the way. Now, Best Western gets it. More than 4,000 hotels worldwide. They built a network that puts you close to the action, locations near the stadium, easy parking, breakfast ready before a day game, a reliable home base in between the action. So all the energy goes toward the game itself, not those logistics. The win's never guaranteed, but a great stay is. And this summer, Best Western is giving guests 1,000 bonus points, plus a chance to win 250,000 bonus points. Book more of what matters most. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. No additional purchase necessary for sweeps. See bonus points, terms and condition, and sweeps rules for details. You ever make good baseball road trips?
Yeah, man. We actually we just went to Philly and Wrigley. Me, Jolly Olive, the Big Olive,
yeah.
and we stayed at a Best Western. It was phenomenal. Great service,
Okay.
great hotel. We had a great time.
All right. I like that. Was Jolly taking off his tarp too much?
Rose, so when we went to the tarps off section in St. Louis, my tarp was already off. Like, we got there and Jolly was like, I'm not taking off my tarp no matter what. Within 15 seconds, they start chanting, take it off, take it off. And sure enough, you saw a little more of the Jolly Olive than maybe you were expecting to see that day. It was good. It was a good time. I'm glad he got into it.
He's got a big wedding day coming up in a couple of months. How's he doing?
He's doing all right. He's getting excited. He told me he was in the doghouse yesterday, but he'll be all right. He's fine.
Whoa.
He's gonna be fine. Yeah.
Breaking news.
It's like he's pretty much already married. You know how that goes, Rose.
Oh, you stop that now. Bite your tongue. That's not the no. Trevor Plouffe, who's usually on this show, talks about how much he loves love. You're always going to have some issues, some disagreements. You just want to make sure those disagreements don't turn into full-blown arguments. And if they do, talk them out. Don't get a bit angry. That's your life lesson today from the John Boy Media dad out there.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
All right. Look, we've talked a lot about Shohei on the mound. We've talked a lot about Paul Skeens, obviously. We've talked about the Miz as well. But the National League's best starter might reside in the city of brotherly love.
Swing and a miss. He got him. 7 shutout innings for Christopher Sanchez. 5 consecutive starts of at least 7 shutout innings, which is also a new franchise record.
It's something special, something really important. Never imagined something like this, so I'm just, really happy and proud of myself.
It's been amazing. When he gets in trouble, he doesn't seem to panic at all. Just keeps making pitches, and so it's fun to watch.
So if you're audio only, you heard from Christopher Sanchez through his interpreter, and then Phillies skipper Don Mattingly as well. Is it possible that the left-hander is still underappreciated, or is he getting enough flowers, in your opinion?
I think he absolutely doesn't get enough flowers, in my opinion. He's very underrated, very underappreciated. We talk about Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal a lot, right? I think it's time to throw this guy's name into that discussion. Was it 5 straight outings of 7 innings or more with no runs? That's insane. And Phillies needed this guy too, because Philly got off to that real bad start this season, and they need somebody to kind of step up and be the guy that you're going to win when he pitches, and that's exactly what he's done. I mean, you throw 7 innings of no-run ball, you're probably going to win that ball game, especially with what Philly's offense is capable of. This guy has been so unbelievable. He reminds me a lot of Tarek Skubal just because of the fastball changeup combo. I think his changeup is absolutely filthy, disgusting pitch.
Right.
He's so fun to watch, dude. He needs to be discussed as one of the best pitchers in baseball, if not the best right now.
All right, so let's throw out some of the numbers. 44 2/3 consecutive scoreless inning streak. Yesterday, he broke the record set by Grover Cleveland Alexander back in 1911, I do believe. It's also the 7th longest streak in baseball since 1920. And in his next start, if he gets through the first inning unscathed, he's going to break Carl Hubbell's mark for consecutive innings scoreless by a left-hander. So I think the biggest issue is he doesn't throw a 103. He's not 6'6" like Skeens. Miz is even taller than that. We are looking for, it's freakish to watch those guys do their thing. Skeens, for people that have never gotten close to the field, He's a 6'6", 250 or 260. He's just he looks like a defensive end, to be honest with you. And then Mizorowski, the guy could almost look Wembayama right in the eyes. I mean, that's how freakish he is. And then when he's still throwing 103 in the 7th inning, it's amazing. So when Christopher Sanchez trots out there and he hits 96, you're like, oh, that's cute. That's fine. But he is so damn consistent, and I love him because he's a late bloomer. These other guys that we talk about were doing it at 21, 22, 23. Christopher Sanchez didn't really get his full-time shot until he was 26, and then 2 years ago, he really burst onto the scene. I think he had a top 10 Cy Young finish. Then last year, he finished runner-up to Skeens, and you were like, whoa. And then earlier this year, right before the season started, he signed that extension. You don't think he's kicking himself a little bit for signing? I mean, he barely got over $100 million, which is fine. I'm not saying that's not real life-changing money that'll take care of his generations for years and years to come. But my God, could you imagine if he went back to the bargaining table with Dave Dombrowski right now with the first 2 months on his resume?
Yeah, there's definitely a good chance he left a couple of dollars out there on the table. But again, you're not going to be too mad making $100 million in your life. But just touching on the point, if he doesn't look like a Skeens or a Scooble, that's kind of what I like about him too, or a Miz, is that I don't really give two hoots what you look like, how hard you throw. If you can put donuts on the board and get outs for my team, find a way to do it. And that's exactly what he's done. He's found a way to become a dominant pitcher while not having the buildup of maybe some of those other guys.
Yeah, I think he's great. And you pair him with Zach Wheeler. I mean, to me, that's the best 1-2 combo we've got going right now. We discussed once your team signed Framber Valdez, as nutty as he can be. He was one of probably the 5 most consistent starters that we've had in this sport over the previous 5 years. And you could dream big with those two, saying, is that the best 1-2 combo? And then you went into the year and you said, well, when Gerrit Cole comes back, is it Fried and Gerrit Cole? Well, now it's Schlittler and maybe Gerrit Cole, and then you throw Max Fried in there as well. And with the Dodgers, you could go Ohtani and Yamamoto, and there's certainly a few others, but I don't know if there's any twosome you take over Sanchez and Wheeler right now.
Yeah, it's tough. The first one that did come to my mind when you said that was Cole and Schlittler, but I don't know if I would take them over Sanchez and Wheeler right now.
Yeah,
maybe when Snell comes back, like you think about a Yamamoto Snell, Ohtani Snell. I don't know. It's real close.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to Gerrit Cole and his amazing return to the diamond shortly. So maybe that is a discussion that's up for debate. But with the ways Wheeler, remember Wheeler was returning from a pretty significant injury, not the same one that Gerrit Cole did, but it's still pretty significant. So he came back and you didn't know exactly what you were going to get. Well, you've gotten ace type stuff out of him, and that's why when the Phillies do make the playoffs as a wild card team, they're going to be a pain in the ass for whatever team they face in that first round, because you have to go Sanchez, Wheeler back to back. Like you're gonna have to hope that your pitchers can match them and that you beat up on Philly's bullpen, which isn't going to be easy.
No, that's a game you feel like you probably have to win like 1-0. And when you're going against the Phillies lineup, good luck.
Yeah. So you know what? Let us know a couple of things in the comments section. Where you take that combo, Philadelphia right now. List who's got the best 1-2 starting pitcher punch right now. Maybe give us your top 3 or 5 there in the comments section. And then also, where do you put Sanchez right now in the National? I mean, to me, he is, through 2 months, the National League Cy Young Award winner. I know we got 4 more months to go, but if I were to vote, I would put him 1. I would put Miz 2. And then I'd have to go and dig a little deeper. It'd probably be Ohtani and Chase Burns.
Yeah, I would have Shohei in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the way. And then Mason Miller. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I would put Mason Miller ahead of Paul Skeens right now.
Interesting. I'd have to go take a closer look at Paul Skeens' numbers, but I know Mason Miller's been insane.
Yeah, Skeens the last several starts he hasn't given the team length, and he hasn't been as great as he was right out of the gate, which was, outside of that Mets start, pretty sensational. So we'll see where we get with all that stuff. All right, it is time right now for Game Savers. It's powered by Amazon, and just like Amazon is ready to save the day when life throws you a curveball, let's discuss how those Seattle Mariners moved back into first place and maybe saved themselves a little bit more embarrassment.
much earlier than most do.
Well, this is torched deep left center field and gone. Julio Rodriguez with a bomb. 3-run tank in the 8th. His 8th home run this month.
Yeah, he's been swinging it pretty good. So do you think whether it's the Athletics or somebody else that any team will be able to keep pace with the Mariners now that they are back in first place in the AL West?
Yeah, Mariners fans can feel free to come at me here, but I don't know why. Even the last couple of years when this team, last year they were a Final Four team in baseball, I've never been that high on the Seattle Mariners, and I can't really figure out why. I know the pitching's great. The offense is good when Cal Raleigh's swinging it, but right now he's not. And I've always, for some reason, really liked the Texas Rangers. And I know they're scuffling too, but there's something about that team I really like. I think when you get DeGrom and Nady Eovaldi and Mackenzie Gore together, that's really good to pair with an offense that should be better. You've got guys like Corey Seager, who can be one of the best shortstops in baseball when he stays healthy. I like Josh Young. I like their infield. I like Jake Berger's pop. I don't know why I'm always so high on Texas, and they've kind of let me down the last couple of years, but I still believe that this team has a run in them, and they can get hot down the stretch.
You like the Texas Rangers more than the Seattle Mariners. I just want to make sure I'm here. I know it's early in the day for me, but is that what you're saying?
Rose, I'm telling you, man, there's something about that Rangers team that I think they haven't clicked the last couple of years, and I'm waiting for them to click. We need Wyatt Langford to get back. Jock Pearson starting to swing it a little better. When I pair their two offenses together, when you look 1 through 9, again, people are going to call me crazy. I know that Texas doesn't have a J-Rod in their lineup necessarily, but I think their offense is a little bit deeper, and I like their starting pitching. Maybe not as much as Seattle, but I think it's close when you talk about a top 3 of DeGrom, Eovaldi, and Mackenzie Gore. Yeah, Mackenzie Gore, who's scuffled, but could be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's improved a little bit as of late, but it has not been a smooth start in his return to the Lone Star State, which I believe is where he's from. Okay, so obviously I was very high on Seattle coming into this season. I thought this was the year not only would they finally make it to the World Series as a franchise, but that they would also win the World Series for the first time ever. And although maybe I have to pull back my enthusiasm there, here's what I do think they have going for them. They are now in first place 2 months into this in a real crappy division, in my opinion.
Yes,
I just don't see a lot of teams pushing them at this point. Houston, I think they've got too many, although the pitching has been significantly better in the month of May, and they do have Yordan, who has been out of this world good. In fact, we'll talk about how good he's been in a few minutes. They still have some cracks in their foundation, in my opinion. They've gotten 0 from Cal Raleigh, and I don't expect him to come off the injured list from his oblique strain and be able to get back on even a 40 homer pace. But if he can get back to be a dependable part of the top part of their lineup, they're going to be fine. The biggest thing to me is the return of health for Brendan Donovan. I really thought that he was one of the biggest pickups that we didn't make a big enough deal about in the offseason because he can play multiple positions at such a high level. You can hit him at the top of the order. Right now, they've got Crawford hitting leadoff. That is not optimal for that franchise at all. I like it when Brendan Donovan is up there seeing pitches, putting the ball in play. That's what I think that when he does come back, and it sounds like he's maybe 10 days away from starting baseball activities, if he could get back within the next month, that is going to allow Dan Wilson to kind of take a little bit of a sigh of relief because that's going to be adding a key ingredient. And I think that'll be the separator. And I'll be shocked if they end up not winning this division by 6 or 7 games.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. Cal Raleigh to me was such a big part of what they did last year. And obviously I don't think he's as bad as he's shown in 2026. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's just a terrible slump. But I also don't necessarily think we'll ever see him have a season close to what he did in 2025. I think he's somewhere in the middle, and they need Cal Raleigh to kind of be that superstar to go along with J-Rod because the rest of the offense just, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me.
Well, okay, so there's a couple things with that. Number one, we haven't seen much out of Josh Naylor either. Remember, he was so good he was great the first half of the season in Arizona as well, but he was so important to what they were doing the second half of their run in Seattle. Luke Raley's really, he and Randy are kind of the two guys who've kind of joined J-Rod atop this offense. We haven't seen a ton elsewhere, right? You've got Emerson and Young, who are both exceptionally young guys, and they have to grow and kind of develop their own pace. It'd be nice if one of them really popped the second half of the year. But you're right, the offense has not been great. The pitching staff, we talked ad nauseum over the last 2 weeks about what they're doing with the piggyback situation. But other than that, they're perfectly fine. They've got a really good closer. They've got some dependable arms at the back end they can use. So it feels like the first couple rounds of a fight, and they're still trying to feel their way through. But eventually, they're just going to land too many haymakers to the rest of this division at the end.
Yeah,
that's
I
the
can
way
see it. Yeah, I get that they're the favorites to win the division for sure, but I wouldn't be shocked if somebody climbs up there and gets them eventually. We'll see.
I want to hear, especially from Mariners fans, but any fans of teams there in the American League West, like how confident are you in your squad right now? What's the one thing that's holding them back? Let us know in the comments section. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today, it is sponsored by Amazon. When life throws you a curveball, Amazon's everyday low prices on essentials helps you save the everyday. Amazon has everything you need whenever you need it. Planned purchases, unexpected moments. They got everything in one single place. It saves you time and money so you can focus on what matters most. And for me, what matters most is having as much time as possible to prepare for shows like Baseball Today and dugout discussions. I don't want to be running around chasing my tail and going from store to store to store to get everything I need just to frickin' live, when all I have to do is hit one button on my phone and it just shows up. We're talking about everything from tech to clothing to daily needs or anything else you need to prepare for the start of the season. Amazon has everything you need in one convenient place. It delivers right to you anytime and anywhere. So whether it's routine shopping or handling life's curveballs, shop Amazon and save on essentials and save the every day. All right. Yankees continued their roll right through Kansas City. Of course, Kansas, a little spelling treat for you, starts with the letter K. You can just ask Gerrit Cole.
The 0-2. Strike three. Got him looking. That is strikeout number 10 for Gerrit Cole.
I think when I first started throwing and I was able to get through the four seam better than I had been in the previous few years, that was obviously an encouraging sign. And then outside of that, it's 2 games, man. It's a small sample. So there's still stuff to improve, and we'll just have to keep the same mindset that we have right now and take it one outing at a time.
Okay, so that's 2 starts since returning from Tommy John. He has yet to give up a run in almost 13 innings worked. How shocked are you that he has quickly returned to form?
Yeah, again, kind of similar to Shohei. It's like maybe you should be a little bit more shocked, but you're just kind of not. I think we forget sometimes how good Gerrit Cole's been in his career. Like, again, talking about top starting pitchers in baseball, this is a guy who you're naming in that conversation for the last, 5 to 10 years now. I love that. I love his answer too. Producer Dan Rourke will laugh at this because he always says that's such like a Yankee answer, right? Like, it's a small sample size. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Long season type of thing. But as much as I love to mess around with the Yankees fans at the John Boy Media office, you start thinking about Gerrit Cole, Schlittler, Max Fried. This is a team, in my opinion, that's probably the favorite to win the American League right now. The Yankees they're playing good ball. I know the Rays have been unbelievably surprising and at the top of that division, but I think the Yankees eventually will take it over, and Gerrit Cole's going to be right at the head of that helm, as he always is.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked because when I watched last night, it was his pinpoint accuracy. And I think that's the hardest thing in talking with guys that come back from major arm surgery. That's the hardest thing for some of them, is to get that back on track. I don't think he had a walk last night, right, Dan? He didn't have a walk, did he? Yeah, no walks. I mean, it's impressive to get double-digit strikeouts. Don't get me wrong. And to throw, he threw 79 pitches and got 10 Ks. That's hard to accomplish. Yeah. I mean, that is really challenging. I mean, that means you can't be missing. You can't have guys consistently fouling off, having 7, 8, 9 pitch at bats, because he would have been out there. He would have been done after 5 if that was happening. But for him to get swing and miss stuff and locking guys up to where they can't pull the trigger, and for him to put guys away as quickly as he's doing, That's some remarkable stuff. Now, I just kind of cherry-picked a couple of names that came back last year from Tommy John surgery and guys who have had, decorated careers. Jacob deGrom, his first 3 starts last year, 7 earned runs in 14 2/3. Robbie Ray, 5 earned runs in 15 1/3. Those aren't horrible numbers. But Gerrit Cole, and I know those are through 3 starts, and who knows what's going to happen to Gerrit Cole in his next start. I think it comes against Cleveland next week, possibly. But, I mean, this has been amazing, and I know he doesn't have time to sit and think and say, yeah, wow, that shit really is amazing. But I hope that when he's by himself for a second that he can say, damn it, I'm proud that I have gotten back to this point this quickly.
Absolutely. And just the fact, like, his whole career, the fact that he signed such a big contract to go to New York, the pressure that comes with that, playing in the toughest environment probably to play in all of baseball, he's been so good for them. He's made that contract look like an absolute steal for the New York Yankees, and that's a lot of money to make look like an absolute steal.
Yeah, Dan made the point that he needed just 72 pitches to get through that first start in 6 innings as well. So we are talking about super efficient. And I'll be the first one to admit that I said at the beginning of the year that I thought Cam Schlittler was going to be so good and that Gerrit Cole would need, significant amount of time to get back to close to what Gerrit Cole was, that Schlittler would start game 2 of whatever playoff series they were in. Well, first of all, I might be wrong. Schlittler might start game 1 because he's just been that dominant so far. But depending on what happens with the health of Max Fried moving forward and the way that Gerrit Cole shows us something, Gerrit Cole might be next in line after that. He is it's great for the sport, whether you like the Yankees or don't. We need our best players out there. Say what you want about Gerrit Cole. He has just been, you're right, he's lived up to every dollar of that contract, in my opinion. And he has been sensational. But I think it's okay to also say that you're a little bit surprised. So let us know. Fair. Let us know in the comments section where you are with this and whether or not you expect it to continue and whether or not you can convince me that he'll get the ball in game 1 of whatever playoff series they're in.
Pretty good problem. Pretty good problem to have, though, for Aaron Boone. One of those 3 guys, not a bad option.
It's Schlittler right now, because he would get the Cy Young through 2 months.
Sure. The only argument, I guess, would be that I would say Gerrit Cole has more playoff experience, but Cam Schlittler was pretty dominant in the playoffs last year, so it's not like he's not up to the task.
Yeah, you can go ask the guys that he faced last year in Boston and Toronto just how good he was. Whoa, we've got a Trevor Plouffe appearance on this program?
Baseball is here, people. The days are getting longer. The sun is back out, and baseball season is finally upon us. Baseball is a game of inches. The result of a game hinges on 1,000 little moments, and momentum can shift quickly. That's why we decided to team up with Fanatics Markets, the trusted home for real-time sports prediction markets. It's simple. Just pick a game and choose an outcome, like which team will win, which player will hit a home run, and more. It's time to get involved in the action. Then buy contracts based on what you think will happen. Yes, if you think it will. No, if you don't. You can buy as many as you want, sell if the price moves in your favor, or let them settle when the event ends. So from opening day to the Fall Classic, no matter who you root for, Fanatics Markets is right there with you. Join the Baseball Today family on Fanatics Markets. Event contracts carry risk of total loss and changing prices. Not good for all investors. Not available in all states. Must be 21 plus. See important disclosures in Fanatics Markets app. Customers are introduced to Crypto.com by Paragon Global Markets, LLC. DBA Fanatics Markets IB, and introducing broker registered with the CFTC and a member of the NFA.
Plouffe, thank you. Of course, he will be finishing up a 4-game set, a little day ball on the south side of Chicago between the Twins and the White Sox. Wednesday night, great story for the Southsiders as David Sandlin made his major league debut, gave up a leadoff homer to Byron Buxton, and then shut it down after that. 6 innings, a 1-run ball, retired 18 straight at one point. While he was the star on the mound, you know who showed up at the dish.
Murakami flicks this one the other way. Back it goes! 20 home runs for Munetaka Murakami.
Tied for the American League lead with those 20 bombs. How much do you think he has shocked the baseball world through 55 games so far?
Yeah, he's absolutely shocked. the baseball world. And to be honest, me personally, like I don't watch a lot of the guys play in Japan over in Japan. So when they come over, I kind of only go off of what I'm told information wise. And everybody told me this guy couldn't hit a fastball over 95 miles an hour. That's what I was told, and everybody's clearly been wrong because this guy's just come out here and absolutely raked for the Chicago White Sox. It's been exciting to watch. I think Chicago's got a couple of nice little pieces over there where you're starting to maybe finally see that light at the end of the tunnel. They're definitely not quite there yet, but like you think about him, Montgomery, they've got a nice little duo brewing in Chicago. And I know the contract's not long, but see if they can work something out.
Yeah, it's a 2-year deal. And we've talked about this a bunch this year about how there are a bunch of other contenders that are sitting there shaking their head as to what did we do wrong? Why did we misstep here? Because he's made everybody pay. And I understand that there can be an adjustment period. Folks, he is 2 homers shy of tying Shohei's single season record, most homers by a guy hit from Japan in his first year in the show.
I like his chances.
June.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable but we shouldn't be shocked. Last year he was banged up. He played only 69 games. He had 24 homers. He had 24 homers. He had a 56 homer season. Folks, this is incredible. I mean, it is incredible. Obviously, we get punished for those of us that don't watch, as you mentioned, baseball in Japan on a daily basis. For God's sakes, with the time change, I don't know how you could do it. Well, I suppose you could just spin up the games. Fine. You want to stream them, go for it. I got enough baseball to watch. So I knew his name, seen him in World Baseball Classic, had seen highlights. But when you don't watch a guy on a daily basis, you don't know until you know. And we know that he's here and he's arrived. I don't know. I'm going to set the over-under at 50.5 homers.
Wow. I think I'd have to take the under on there. That's just a big line. If he hits 51 homers, that's a crazy, crazy season. But then again, yeah, he's on pace, right? He's on pace to get there.
Well on pace for that.
Yeah.
I think he's close to 60. I think it's something like 58 or some number like that is what he's on pace for. I think I'll just for fun, I'll take the over, and I'll see you in September.
Fair.
Real quickly as a follow-up. By the way, let us know where you're going to sit. Give us the Murakami number in the comments, how many homers he hits. Since you're a Tigers fan, we'll let you have a crack at this. White Sox are currently in second place in the AL Central behind my plucky little Cleveland Guardians. How certain are you they're the second best team in the division?
How much time do you got, Rose? I mean, I think
you got 5 minutes because you got to get to your warehouse stuff.
True. I think they have to be, because just the Royals and Tigers are 4 or 5 dead last, and I think the White Sox are better than the Twins. So it's hard to make an argument against them. I guess I'll talk about my Tigers a little bit. I hate using injuries as an excuse in baseball because every team goes through them. Every team goes through them. But Rose, even yesterday in a game the Detroit Tigers win, Casey Mize leaves the game early. Kenley Jansen gets pulled with an injury. It's like these guys can't catch a break. Parker Meadows gone. Javi Baez gone. Gleyber Torres gone. Kerry Carpenter's out. Casey Mize just came back. He's about to be out again. Scooble, obviously. Didn't even talk about him. Like, it's been a crazy injury season, but they also just haven't played good ball. Like, there's a clip yesterday of, like, Matt Vierling just lobbing a ball into second base, and when he lobs into second, a run comes around third to score. So they've played sloppy ball. I think talent-wise, I still probably would put the Tigers as the second best team, but you can't argue with results. I think I'd probably put the White Sox as my number 2 in the AL Central, which is crazy to say heading into the season because everybody thought it'd be some form of Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, I think was the for sure top 3 everybody had on their mind.
Yeah, I think I'm most disappointed in the Royals, to be honest, because they haven't been hit by the injury bug the way your team has. And for them to be 10 games back at this point, they look horrific. I wonder if there's a managerial change that might be coming to try and shake something up there and say, hey, guys, let's wake up. I know they didn't make a ton of moves in the offseason. I still think they have neglected that outfield to a major degree. But, I mean, you look at that infield. I mean, Vinny has not played well. Bobby Witt has. Garcia has been fine. But they, and their pitching needs to step it up too, right? I mean,
which is shocking.
Yeah, I thought that maybe that was going to be the strength of this team.
Should have been,
too.
yeah.
So with all
Should've
that being said, I said yesterday I was just worried about the long-term play of the White Sox arms. Like, I didn't think they had enough proven material there, and they still don't, in my opinion. But look at what Sandlin does in his major league debut with retiring 18 straight. It really is. It was a great, great story and an amazing debut for him. Do I think that can continue through the second half of the year? I personally don't. But yeah, if I look at the rest of this team, I mean, I'm trying to convince myself that the Tigers do have a run in them.
I hope so. 2024 was like a miracle run, and I've been talking to other Tigers fans, and it's like it almost feels like 2026 would be more of a miracle, even though this team's supposed to be better.
But I think since late July of last year, don't they have the third worst record in baseball, but only ahead of maybe the Rockies and the Angels? Did you see that?
I believe I saw that stat, and that's correct. You think about the collapse they had at the end of last season, like that's clearly bled over into 2026.
Interesting.
I guess one question I have for you, Rose, though, is like if you don't think the White Sox are the second best team in this division, or maybe you do, like who do you think at the end of the year? Do you think anybody catches them? Like, do you think the Twins get? I mean, obviously the Twins are close, but I think the White Sox are better than the Twins.
Well, first of all, let's put this out there. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a scarred Cleveland fan. I don't think Cleveland's good enough to run away. That's not the type of team we are. I think we're good enough to win the division, but I don't think we're good enough to run and hide from anyone. So I think whatever the second best team in the division is will make us sweat. I really do. We don't have a proven enough lineup to put up runs on a consistent basis. And look, I know the Washington Nationals, the last 5 games have pitched exceptionally well. We did not hit what is a significantly below average pitching staff. So this is a team that can go into cold funks very, very easily. And so I still am if you're asking me what team I keep my eye on the most in the division, it's still the Tigers.
Okay. I like to hear that little confidence boost maybe that I needed.
Although the White Sox are not far behind. I will say that they have impressed the shit out of me. There's no question. We got to move on because I know we got to get you going. Texas Rangers, they're actually bummed because they looked at the schedule. They're like, we got to play the Astros again on Thursday? Ugh.
Jordan sends one to center field deep. Carter back, he's done it again. 5 bombs in 3 games. Air Jordan continues to get cleared for liftoff at DFW.
And he is now tied with Murakami for the American League lead with 20 homers. 2 months in, is that your AL MVP?
He's certainly in the discussion, right? It's got to be like him, Judge, Bobby Witt, Shea Bangaliers, as they call him with the A's. I think probably Jordan, though, right now. The only argument would be that the Astros haven't been good. So, like, you can't really give the MVP to a team that's out of it, but it's certainly not his fault.
Yeah, you can. You can when he's been this good. Okay, so he almost has the AL Triple Crown right now. He's first in average. He's tied for first in homers. He's second to his teammate Christian Walker in RBIs. By the way, this is remarkable. We expect because he's so big and strong and such a good hitter, and his splits are incredible. It doesn't matter whether they throw a lefty at him. He's going to mash that too.
Yep.
What do you think his season high in homers is?
I've seen that he's never cracked 40, right? Is it like 32? Somewhere around there?
It's 37.
Yeah, he's never got to 40. I think that's just because of injuries. But I like that you touched on hitting left-handed pitching. I think he's the best left-handed hitter I've ever seen at hitting lefties. It's incredible. I mean, he just stays in there. You think about the home run for Robbie Ray in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that probably Freddie Freeman is close in terms of his ability to stay on the ball. But yeah, I mean, you're right. With this sort of pop, he feels unmatched certainly in recent times. And yes, I would vote for him as the MVP right now. That's who even though he doesn't play a position, I would vote him the MVP. I just think that he is sensational. Real quickly, we're going to touch on this whole Brewers thing. Now, they ended up sweeping the Cardinals. They were getting no hit by Dustin May through 7. Got a couple of knocks in the 8th, scored a couple of runs. They ended up winning. The big deal, though, everybody's still talking about the Abner Uribe gyrations from Tuesday and him saying, well, Ali Marmol was doing this weird stuff where he was pointing at our guys and maybe threatening to hit. Marmol did talk prior to Wednesday's game, and he said, listen, yeah, we're pissed about the Brewers stealing our signs, basically he intimated that there were ways to do it without being so obvious. It was very convoluted. Does this whole thing make sense to you, or are you kind of shaking your head like, what are we doing?
Honestly, not at all. Like, I have no idea what's going on. It doesn't look good for Ali Marmol. You can clearly kind of see him pointing to his hip there, and I don't think that's any sort of sign. You know, I've never been a baseball coach in my life, but I don't think that's typically a sign you give pointing to your hip. So it didn't look great. And when it comes to like sign stealing and stuff, it's almost, if I'm the Cardinals, I'd kind of want to know that the Brewers are making it obvious that they're stealing our signs, because at least then we can kind of mix it up. Like, we know, okay, they've got something, we need to change it up. I'd rather they make it completely obvious. I'd be like, thank you, you know?
Yeah, I've warmed on Ali Marmol over the last year a lot, but this one confused me immensely. I have no idea what he was upset about. If there is sign stealing, that's on you. And that's
Correct.
on your franchise to better, as long as nobody is being tech savvy, because
Sure.
we know that's a no-no. But if they're using their eyes and they are relaying it from the dugout, get better at it. Get better at holding it. I mean, for God's sakes, it's never been easier. All you have to do is hit a button, and we know what pitch you're throwing. The rest of it just doesn't make sense to me. So I was very confused. Maybe I'd like to have a meal with Ollie and get his point of view on this, but it doesn't look great for him. Last thing we've got, weird stuff in Toronto as well, right? Yuri Perez, he nailed Okamoto 97 up and in, and then he appeared to stare into the Blue Jays dugout and kind of smirk at them. And the Blue Jays skipper, John Schneider, was like, bro, what the heck are you doing? Why are you looking in here? Like, don't look at us. I have no idea what you're doing. And Perez is like, ee. And then a little bit later, like, he's getting ready to come out. Perez is in the dugout, and he's starting to get loose. He was having a little bit of a hamstring issue, apparently. And then, like, something might have popped, and he couldn't even get up off the bench to head to the clubhouse. He had to be assisted that way. And some people were saying, well, there's karma for you. Do you buy that?
I don't know if I necessarily believe in the whole karma thing there, but I will say I'm kind of with Schneider on that one. Like, you just hit my guy while you're looking into my dugout. I don't know. Like, if you hit a guy and it's intentional, it's not intentional, either way, just move on with the game. Like, guy's going to walk down to first, get back on the mound, and throw your next pitch. And I love watching Yuri Perez pitch. I think he's a good young pitcher with a nice future in front of him, but I didn't necessarily love that. I didn't understand what the message being sent was supposed to be there to the Blue Jays dugout.
And I also get it from the Blue Jays standpoint. They were sick of guys getting hit. I mean, Sandy hit 4 guys. Now, Schneider came out and said, look, those were all breaking balls. So there was no ill intent there. But you get hit by a pitch like enough times, you're like, all right, come on. We're not human pinatas out here. Kind of had it. Enough of this whole thing. And then, yeah, I didn't get the Yuri Perez staring into their dugout, unless there was another part to the story that we just don't know.
Yeah, maybe somebody was chirping him from the dugout or something like that, but nothing that we could see, at least.
I guess. Jimmy Norp, I know you got to go do your warehouse games stuff. Are you allowed to share anything about what you're doing, or is that kind of a no-no at this point?
I can just share that we're testing out some new sports for Captain's League, and fans at home are going to have a chance to vote on what new sport they want to see. So if you don't follow Warehouse Games, go check out Warehouse Games on YouTube, Instagram, all socials now. A lot of good stuff coming out.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good will you be at these new games? My guess is a 10, since you're one of the best athletes we've got.
We've played a couple so far. I'll put myself at a 8-4. How about that? I'll go 8-4 out of 10.
We'll see. All right. Good effort. I always appreciate you joining us. You always bring a good, fun perspective. And it's going to take me a little while to get over the new look.
Yeah.
You look devilishly handsome.
Thank you,
but
Rose.
different. So I look forward to seeing you at the All-Star game in Philadelphia in the middle of July. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Jimmy Norp, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday as Trevor Plouffe returns for Baseball Today, presented to you by T-Mobile.